Okay, here we go. I can use the formulas for volume of cylinders, cones, and spheres to solve problems. I can explain that the volume of a cylinder is found by multiplying the area of its circular base by its height. So, those are our two learning goals for today. And let's look at a mathematics chart. There is one in your packet, and so I am going to want you to fill that out. This one I'm showing you, we already have some things that we should be putting on here, like NP for not proportional, P for proportional. This is M, which is slope, okay, or an S at least. Now we are going to do looking at volume. Everything is either here or here. So let's talk about what that is. I want you to put a big V for volume and a big B for here because that's the area of your base. Okay? So we are going to be doing volume today. All right? Let's get our notes. And then here we go. Volume of a cylinder. So we need to go to the volume section and we need to look up cylinder, and it says V equals big BH. So V equals big BH. All right? And we need to identify our big B and our H. Our B is the base, the area of our base. And I want you to arrow down the formula for the area of our base. Our base, now we're going to circle it, and it is a circle. So we are going to come over here under area formulas. We are going to find the formula for the area of a circle, which is pi r squared. So we're going to put pi times r squared, and then this H represents the height of the prism. So that will be times H. Okay, so we still need that there. Now, we have an R. Remember an R. A radius is halfway across a circle. And that's what we need, an R. Sometimes they give us a diameter, which is all the way across the circle. If we get a diameter, we need to take D, divide it by 2, and we find R, our radius. This time we have been given a radius, so here's my R, and here is my H, my height of the prism. Remember, this H is the height of the prism. That has nothing to do with the base. So now I'm going to write pi times R4 squared times the height of my prism, which is 13. 1 step, 2 step, 3 step, put it in your calculator and get your answer. Every problem. I don't want to see it skip. I don't want to see you skip steps. I want it written down. And yes, I can have you write it down, okay? That is part of your grade. So, I'm going to put in second and pi, and I am going to put times my R, which is 4 squared, times 13, and I am going to hit enter. Now, today, most of these will say what is the closest, okay? I really want to stress, remember, if I need it to the nearest hundredth, I could put this on mode, and I could go down to 2, and that's the nearest hundredth on my calculator, and I could hit enter, and hit second quit, and hit enter, and it gives it to me in the closest to the nearest hundredth, okay? Now, if I wanted it to the nearest tenth, I could push mode, go to 1, hit enter, second and quit, and it would round it to the nearest tenth. All right, so today I would say that you can leave it on float unless it says specifically it wants it to the nearest tenth or hundredth. So I'm going to go back to mode, and I'm going to move to float, and I'm going to hit enter,
so that I'm going to get back on float. So here I am going to just give myself 6, 5, 3 point, and I'm just going to put 4, 5 because we don't need to write all that out. Okay? Okay, so that is a cylinder. Next we have volume of cones. So now we are going to go to our volume formula and we are going to look for a cone. So we have cylinder, we have cone. Here's the formula for the volume of a cone. It is the same as a cylinder except for it's 1/3. So I have V equals 1/3 big BH. Okay, I'm going to put down here 1/3 in parentheses times, what is my big B? It is the area of the base, which is a circle on a cone. So I have to go to my big B formula and go to circle and plug in pi times r squared. So I'm going to do pi times r squared times the height of my prism, which is still an h. Okay? So looking at this is the height of my prism. It's the only number not in my base. Okay? I circled my base, remember? Now, is this a D or an R? That is a D. So this is a D. I need an R. So I'm going to take 42 divided by 2 to find out what my R is. And when I do 42 divided by 2, I find out that R is 21. Okay? So now I'm ready to plug everything in. I'm going to write 1/3 times pi times r squared times my h, which is 43. And I'm going to put all this in my handy dandy calculator. You see the only difference here is that I have 1/3. A cylinder doesn't have the 1/3. That tells you that if you have the same height in both of these prisms, the cone will hold 1/3 less than the cylinder. Okay? So I'm going to do parentheses, 1 divided by 3 parentheses, times second and pi times 21 squared times 43, and I end up with a long number that I'm just going to round to 19858.00. Okay? It should be 01 actually if I was rounding it to the nearest hundredth. Okay? All right. We've got spheres and hemispheres, and then we have a word problem. So spheres are really easy. Everything is labeled out for you. It's right here. There's a couple of things that students get stuck on. The 4/3, number one, they tend to put 1/3 instead of 4/3. The other thing is they tend to put cubed. They put squared instead of cubed. So let's write our formula right here. It's 4/3 times pi times r cubed. Now I'm going to fill in what I need. Okay, I've got an r here. I don't have a d, so I'm going to do 4/3, and I'm going to put that in parentheses, times pi times 3 cubed. And that's all there is to it. And I'm going to come to my calculator, parentheses, 4 divided by 3 parentheses, times second pi times 3 to the power of 3. Get out of exponent land and hit enter, and I get 113 point, and I'm just going to write 09 because it's not telling me to be specific, okay? All right, if you have a hemisphere, anytime you see the word hemi, it means half, okay? Half of the world, a hemisphere is a half-ton truck, okay? Hemis is half. So I have a sphere and I have half a sphere. So all we need to do, they don't give you the formula, it's right here. V equals 4/3 pi r cubed, and I have to divide the whole thing by 2 because that's how you make half of anything. Okay? So now I'm going to look here. Do I have an R or a D? I have a D. So I need to take 42 divided by 2. It's the same number as we did before. That's going to give me 21 for my R. So now I'm going to put parentheses, 4/3 times pi times 21 cubed, and then I'm going to divide the whole thing by 2. So here we go. Parentheses, 4 divided by 3, parentheses, okay, times second and pi times 21 to the power of 3. Now you got to make sure you get out of exponent land, because if you put divided by 2, it'll stay right up there unless you arrow out. Now put divided by 2, and then I can get my answer. 19,396 point, I'm just going to put 19, okay? All right, let's do the last problem together. I don't even know what it is. In a museum, there is a sculpture in the shape of a cylinder. The cylinder has a diameter, so I'm going to write D is 12, okay? And a height of H, okay? Which equation can be used to find V, the volume of the cylinder in cubic feet? And yes, this is a typical question, okay? So first, I've got a cylinder, so I'm going to go to my formula chart, and I'm going to say for a cylinder, I need V equals big BH. V equals big BH. Then I'm going to plug in what on a cylinder is my base. It is a circle, so I'm going to plug in pi times r squared times the height. Okay? Now, I know what pi is. Do I have an r? No, I have a d. So I would need to do 12 divided by 2 to find my r. 12 divided by 2, and I would find out that r is equal to 6. Okay? So I could plug in times 6 squared, and they haven't given me a number for h, so I'm just going to plug in h. Now, which one says this? I sure hope you chose F and not G. Okay? So F is the correct answer. All right, there shouldn't be too many issues today at all. You need to make sure that you're writing your formulas down. I want you to fill out your STAAR chart on your packet, what you are supposed to be filling out so far, and bring your paper to me when you're done. And there, of course, is a quizzes today. Okay? Have a great day.